Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us. It's Patrick here with Ivan. I think Tim's going to float in at some point in time and join us. But welcome to the trade group session for today. Any advice contained in today's session is general only, doesn't take into consideration your circumstances, and you need to decide whether it's appropriate for you. Past returns are not an accurate indicator of future returns. What do we got here today? So, look, I think we'll go and have a quick look at the XGIO. There's a couple of trade lit long positions that have presented themselves. A&N, which was there yesterday, which has continued to go, and a few others to have a look at. Let's go and open up our watch screen.
Coming up to expiry soon. You guys probably have some positions that are coming up. If you guys want us to look at any of those, please let us know. Type them into the chat, into the questions, and we can look at those.
All right. So the market is off. It's really, what can we say? It continues to be sort of overall trending up over the last couple of months, 4 months, but
Contracting in movements.
But yeah, it's sideways overall, right? And we're just edging up. So this level here that we've been talking about for the last little period of time, we've just banged our head against it. We haven't done anything, but overall we'd probably expect it to continue to go up based on. But I wouldn't necessarily be jumping on a trade. A lit long would have presented itself here. And no, why not? Oh, yeah, just didn't quite make it through, did it?
No, 52 week high, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to put it into perspective. You just decided to.
I just went rogue.
Yeah.
All right. So let's
this
go
is why we
have
a trading system.
Yeah. Follow the scans.
And there's a trading scan screen that will show you at 10:30 what you need to look at.
All right. So let's have a go. Let's go across to scans. There is clearly not much to talk about on the XGO markets. We're following sort of following news stories at the moment.
Actually, really. James Hardy was a little long again just before.
Yeah, it's come off. Lend-Lease has been there. Maybe we start by having a look at Lend-Lease. Let's wait for this to load up. So Lend-Lease has just been constantly giving us trade signals.
It's funny. We were talking about Lend-Lease. Must be 6 months ago, 9 months ago, in that weird place down the end of Collins.
Yeah.
And about their international stuff, and we were talking about what a giant company and how largely successful they are. I can't believe neither of us decided. I know we've got our own businesses to fund, but just post-election, you just think everything just lined up so well to that company, and even if there was the different result in the election, it would have probably been even better for them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, this is a good example of lit long, where there have been plenty of opportunities to get into it. The distance between the share price and the 50-day moving average is not great at the moment, but it's still presenting itself as a trade, and there have been some really good opportunities to get set in Lend-Lease, but it presents itself as a trade, but it, as someone who's been following the LITT system would have been in this trade already. So, it's, I guess...
You'd be in, right now you'd be in for it for the third time.
Yeah. Yep.
Or actually probably second.
Yeah.
I think from memory, but anyway.
Yep. So anyway, there's a lit long on Lend-Lease. Does anyone have any questions regarding that? But the setup of the trade, you can obviously see just by clicking through the trading scan screen. That will load that up for you if it's something you're interested in. It's there. It's still looking strong. And again, this is where we will stay with these trends. So big question is quite often from people is like, at what point do I close out of the trade? With Lend-Lease, if you'd been in it, you would be just staying in it. Right? There'd be no reason to get out of that position. You just simply go with the trend. All right, so the other trade that we have in the scans is, let me go back to Strategy Builder. Was Ansel, and that presented itself yesterday. Right, so we load the position up. Max profit 55. So if we wanted to, let's say do 50 contracts here, your max profit is $2,725. Max loss $2,275. Right. So, and if you'd been in there yesterday, those numbers probably look a little bit more attractive for you.
Well, you would have just had slightly different strikes.
Yeah.
Slightly lower strikes, so up 22 cents again today.
Yep. So,
so I think last night we were looking at this. Actually, the strikes were the same last night, but
yeah,
you've probably been a little bit early. So 30 is effectively the level that you wanted to go up higher than. So it's only $1 away.
Yep.
I like that ADX picking up as well, and some good high volume stuff for. Yep, Ron's on the line. Yep, volume for you, mate. I mean, one day you'll get rid of volume on your chart, but I love it. Yeah, where's implied volatility? Can you please put it on? Like, just not seeing implied volatility on a chart is just, it's almost, I don't know, I feel anxious. I feel like I should start, Yeah, there we go. Everything back in order.
Complete.
Everything back in order. There we go.
All right. So anyway, there's the trading scans. James Hardy has been around. Obviously, we've been looking at this over the last couple of weeks when it originally broke up, and so it's representing itself. But I guess the original point of entry would have been back here, sort of 5 trading days ago, and that trade is doing quite well for us. Is there? Good on your own. So
Rowan said volume is key. I reckon price action is key, but it's okay. You'll see one day too, Rowan.
Yeah. Beautiful. Now, is there any other trades anyone would like us to go and have a look at? Anything else anyone would like us to discuss?
I think broadly the interesting thing about the XJ right now is obviously US has made all-time highs again.
Yeah.
In light of everything. Interesting, last night I saw, or this morning actually, I read one of the CNBC guys, UBS did a survey of a batch of their high net worths. 50% of those people are cautious for next year about the market continuing to go up. If only we get our awesome product out that I keep talking about. But, sophisticated money is away. Merrill's just said this market is never going to stop. The bears have just had the last hurrah. So interesting to see that. But I find it interesting that the XJO is not breaking up. I mean, obviously we've got the weak Hong Kong, and I remember from the day trading days, we used to watch the Sanger all the time. So we always used to pair off that. It's down again today, which is obviously part of the weakness coming through today is coming out of Asia. It's just it's weird. It's just we're getting a break up and just keep going or break down.
A lot of the corporate guys are coming to us to book in work early next year, and they're worried about the middle of next year, so they're wanting to do whatever they need to do this is for listed companies in the first part of the year, and that's an interesting indicator. So a lot of those guys are worried about US election and just sort of general instability that might happen from June onwards, whenever that kicks in, who knows. But, I mean, that's just an observation. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but just interesting, sort of set from a sentiment perspective. Just a couple of things to mention about reach and implied volatility and the direction we're going in. We will be announcing this sort of officially the start of next week, but we have a team of traders joining us, which is something that Ivan and I have been working on for a long period of time. And in terms of what we see our job being is to support traders. And the traditional way of supporting traders or providing services or making money, I guess, would be the way the broking industry would think about things, would be, well, we have a team of advisors and they charge you brokerage, or we have a discount platform which you can trade through. And we noticed, and one of the reasons why the implied volatility system was invested in, and we went down the path we've gone down, is that the technology that was available for traders just didn't develop over almost 2 decades. There was no real with what was available and the way technology has gone, the trading platforms really hadn't responded to that. So that implied volatility technology that you guys use was an answer to that. But we didn't see that being as the answer to the solution of what makes me a successful trader. There are other elements to that, which is why we're running this webcast today, why we do the education stuff we do, why a lot of the things that have been built into the game, and why you've got support with Tim in the office here. We saw a very important part of this being the advisors and the traders that sit behind you, because sometimes what you need is an experienced trader or broker who can help you execute your trades in the market, or can help you navigate through what you're going through with your trading system. And many people who are very busy actually want someone that they can call up to put their trade on, or will call in and say, hey, what about this? I know you look at these kinds of things, or we've got this trade idea and the like. So we've got a team of 5 advisors. We're opening our office in Sydney next week, and we'll have an options team in there. We'll also have some corporate team in there in the not too distant future as well. It's part of what we've been growing through our overall business, but we see it as a really important part and a round out to the service. So that'll be available. We'll make you aware of that. What that'll mean is that if you want to call someone up and talk about your trading platform, you've got someone to call, right? You've got a support person to call. If you want to put a trade on, you can do a tailor-made combination at the lowest prices in Australia, and you can actually do a tailor-made combination online. You've got the tech to manage your trades and understand your positions and manage margin and do all those sorts of things. But if you need to talk to someone, and you need someone, you can call up and you can speak to a full service person. They can execute a trade for you, help you repair a position, come to you with a trade idea. So you've got the best of both worlds, I guess, is what we're saying. But we don't really see it the best of both worlds. We just see like what are the things that someone needs to help them so that they can now, in a month, in 2 years, have all the resources available that they need to be able to get the most out of their trading. And that's ultimately what we're working towards. And we know that we've done a lot, and we're happy with where we're at, but we've got a lot more that we're doing. This is by no means a physical.
But I think the most important thing is that listening to the feedback from, running, 10 or 15 options games, somewhere in that range now. Over the past 4 years, or 3 years, 3.5, 4 years, it's interesting that was sort of the gap that people had from going from playing the options game to self-executing online. For some, it was an extremely natural step, and I believe there are people on this line who were some of the first players. I think, for that matter, I think, Rowan, you were actually in the first game, by the way, and we found that there was an entire gap there for a lot of people that just couldn't commit to real options trading, and they just needed that mentorship piece in the middle. And every single game, there's people emailing through and just saying, look, I'm just not ready yet. I want to play around with it a bit more. And of course, my answer to it always is, which was exactly how I started trading, which is just start really, really small. Make sure that you build up the right, like if you're not even thinking about making money for the first 3 to 6 months, but you're developing the right habits, that's much more important than any education course you will ever do or anything like that, because you start managing money and you start putting in the right habits, and that's where trading systems come in and so on.
Absolutely.
And so this is just, so I was going to say, this is sort of, if you're not comfortable doing that, this is the step in the middle which says, well, I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to let you bounce ideas off. So I mean, obviously, for a lot of you that have tried speaking to Tim about this, and Bobby in the past, or whoever's on the desk, and try to get an idea out of them, you're never going to be able to do it, because we are an execution-only service online, and have always been that. Their job is to actually physically bounce back that idea. But now we're adding in that, and I think that's for some of you, it's not going to be at all applicable, and for a lot of you that are starting out, maybe play the game just the last time, and maybe are not that comfortable doing anything. This is.
But if you want to, for example, getting started sometimes is a hard thing to do. So if you're looking at a LITT long trade and you wanted to do it, well, you can call up and say, well, what are the pros and cons of this particular trade? Talk me through it. How do I put the trade on? Can you put the trade on for me? Get them to put it on. The next one you do, you might do yourself, or you might get into a trade, you do it online, and then you decide, well, I need some assistance getting out of the trade, or rolling it, or doing something, or switching it to a bearish position. Can you hold my hand through that process and call up and do the trade over the line? Paul's asked the question, will brokerage be different? Yes, it will be. So there will be the discount rates, which are the lowest prices you can trade options for in Australia, or it would just be normal lower end of full service advisory rates, and we'll publish that in the early next week. So I'll wait until we publish that before saying them on this session, but they'll be at the lower end of the full service pricing, right?
And there'll be some kind of an intermediary place between online guided online execution, I guess, and full service broking in the traditional sense.
Yep.
Versus, and so we're gonna sort of cover that all three spectrums.
Yep. And when you call up, if you've got a question like how do I draw a line on my chart, or how do I put an online order on, you don't need to talk to a full service broker. You can speak to our support team to do those sorts of things. So they're the best people to speak to that can provide education and support, or explain a strategy to you and do those sorts of things. And we'll keep adding to the library of content, and we'll also get the guys, the traders, to run webcasts like this, so we'll be able to run more trading idea sessions and the like, and expand upon the what we deliver. And when we put out trade ideas, we can can opt in. Okay, well, if you see a trade and you want to do it, let me know, contact me. We'll be able to add those sorts of things.
It took a long time for us to get here, but it's something we were talking about probably for over 12 months.
Well, the interesting thing is, and you'll get to meet the advisors, but apart from one, they don't actually come from broking backgrounds. They were traders. They worked in financial markets and then became brokers some time ago, so they're experienced in broking, but they weren't born and bred and brought up through the broking network, which is kind of probably the thing that we were looking for.
It's a pity this is not an actual video webcast, because just your face right now would have been priceless. I would put that face up on Facebook.
Well,
brokers.
I ran a broking desk for a long period of time. I'm clearly not completely against them, but the challenge is that it's very transactional, and so you want people that are coming from a slightly different perspective, so that you get passionate about it. Because what we need to integrate is a model around trading, and what we're trying to achieve overall for people who trade with us, as opposed to just purely transactional stuff. Anyway, what do we got here? Ramsey, Iron Condor, 71.73.
So sorry, we did go a little bit.
We jumped across that, but coming back to David's,
I'm not sure. So what is the question around that? I mean, did you put on a 71.73? Because that seems like it's right smack bang in the middle. So I'm guessing you put it on either 2 days ago or you did it now. Anyway, there's a question there. So
where did that go?
Rowan, thanks a lot for the compliments. Yeah. And Paul as well. I think this is going to be awesome. I mean, obviously, as with the way that we've always run this, is at the moment we think this is going to be the final big piece that we're missing in the puzzle to go on and provide that full end-to-end service.
Yep.
And in 3 months, we'll probably be proven wrong, and we'll be putting out something new and different. But
hopefully we are coming up with new ideas. But the other thing is, in the Sydney office, are you ready to talk about what we're doing with the university?
We are. Yes, I won't be naming what it is yet, but we are in probably the middle of next year, maybe even earlier than this. We are partnering with the university and the government. And it's going to be a 3 to 5 year engagement. We're going to be having three PhD students 3 days a week coming in, and we'll be partnering with one of the leading Big Four unis to go in, and they'll literally be 100% dedicated to trading systems and working through volatility analysis. So it's powering up what we've done thus far and just scaling the bejesus out of it. This is effectively the plan. Going to be really good. I mean, this is sort of one of those examples of, now that we're growing as a provider. We've got every month we're adding more and more people trading on our platform. We've got more and more. Obviously with these guys, we are actually going to be one of the bigger desks in town. And this is effectively us putting back into the community, and this is something that we've always been passionate about doing. and providing the overall edge to us as a trading group.
And also, it's one of the things that we're really interested in doing is we've got a lot of very talented clients, and looking at their trading systems and being able to give them more information on what they're doing, see if we can optimize and improve on those systems, and then also equally bringing that back, the information back into the network.
The thing I really love about these guys is that these guys are purely, they're interested in the main themes that these guys are going through at Union, and that what they want to be is all want to be high frequency traders / hedge fund operators, completely, I think, oblivious to where the world's really going, because unis are still kind of sitting in what was popular in the 90s. But the theme that's coming through with a lot of these guys, they just want to be around trading desks, which is something that we haven't seen for a long time. They're not interested in the passive stuff that's coming through in the market. They're not interested in all that kind of stuff that's happening. So, but these guys have no understanding of trading. They've never traded. And here's a bunch of trading principles, and they're interested in the mathematical challenge, and they'll go in and beat the shit out of the computer with a stick until it produces results. And then they come back to us and they say, yeah, so your biased opinions about what a particular indicator was or a particular rule are no longer applicable, because as a crazy mathematician person, I found that it gave us 47% profitability as opposed to, and the thing that they're really excited about is they understand options theoretically, but to be fair, I would hope they understand it better than I do, although I have some understanding, obviously, through my experience of how options are priced. But they can go and then use that as a third dimension, which is they can't get that anywhere else, because for everyone else it's Delta One, it's stocks, maybe futures with some leverage, maybe CFDs. So for them, having options as that other leverage, the opportunities open up. At any given point in time, you've got 50,000 options across 7 different underlyings. So it's a massive challenge for them intellectually. It's fantastic for us because we've obviously got, a really good partner who's really excited by what we're doing, and having the government start recognizing some of that. Obviously, in terms of things like R&D grants and whatever else, they've been very supportive through Austrade over the past 5 years with what Tradefloor's been doing, and it's great that now it's sort of on the trading side as well, not just the platform. So it's super exciting. It's going to be awesome.
All right. Is there any other questions? Is there anything else anyone wants to go through? I think we'll have some updates in the coming week. Thoughts on SGM and ASX? General banking sector. Okay.
Just a general comment on Paul just said great opportunity to develop a backtesting tool. So obviously we've got a backtesting tool. We do have a closed developer API as well, which we are not really releasing to the public, which we use internally. It's not just something that we've invested a whole heap of time on. But having said that, there is a lot of stuff there. We've become a lot better at storing that data and utilizing that data, which means that we can return a lot more results now in a much shorter period of time. And we really should finish off some of our last piece of analysis and on the directional stuff. I just got to put it together in a Frezzo. Some really interesting stats that back up a lot of what we're doing with LITT, and also we'll look at some of the stuff that we've thought was important but was actually noise. So interesting.
ASX, what do you say? There's not much to say there.
It's right on the bottom right of that range. Should be, if that breaks lower, you'd actually think that it's. Ron, would you try and actually get short ASX a while back? I don't know if you did. For your benefit, I hope you did. It's really come off. Good old Simsa. I don't know. I've got no opinion on it. Sorry.
Right, so Rowan was short. Well done.
Yeah.
But looking to reshort.
I think in terms of that, I'm sorry, I don't know if you've got anything to say about it. Sometimes I got nothing. In terms of this, so this is interesting. ASX is, I would be looking for to be fair, it is actually looking pretty bearish. but you'd want it to take out that support before you start looking at anything. And that falling volume, it's just nothing's come up in the trade ideas window for a while. David, this is something that we were just talking about just before the session as well. It's just literally volatility is dropping. The opportune time to get into iron condors hasn't been there. We've had something come up a couple of weeks ago. We haven't had anything since. What you want for that stuff to line up is some big aggressive moves either way. Because we've been in this range-bound crappy market for a long period of time, nothing's really been coming up in terms of those high opportunity iron condors. There's been a couple of good gambles you could have taken, but nothing that really fits in with the probabilities that we're looking at.
Yeah, so technically it might look okay, but the volatility is too low.
So playing footsies.
Yeah, is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So technically setups have been there, IV's been too low.
I think just as a very simple explanation of that, before I bore everyone with more IV talk. I like how you're just preparing, you're just getting back in your seat, just going, I'm going to get comfortable now and have a bit of a snooze. But, you know, it's a very simple view. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, let's say, take 30 stocks. Well, actually, IV rank is pretty low there.
The challenge with this also is that the 12-month IV's been low.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Is it low in a low IV
I mean,
environment?
everything's low, but okay. You know what? I'm gonna go with CYB, which is probably not the best. But anyway, if I go on CYB, and it's the best way of showing it. Okay, let's go. I'll do an iron condor on this, and let's go 36 days. So because of the higher IV, you're going to get wider strikes coming through here. And what I'll do is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there is effectively like a grid you can do. And the grid shows you volatility shocks to that. So let's go and just scale this up to, I don't know, something large, 17 grand, there we go. So you can actually see how much of an impact volatility has. So from here, because volatility is so high, for CYB, we generally don't look at stocks below $15, by the way, because the cost of actually putting that trade on is quite high. You know, you pay a lot of in ASX per lot fees on that, but that's sort of why we won't come up. But if you look at from here, if volatility was to drop 75% from here, so from 55 to 30, that's sort of half, right? So let's say it goes from 55 to 70. You know, you're looking at 3 grand losses around here, just in terms of that vol shock around the same prices. And if volatility drops 50%, the actual outcome becomes a lot higher. So this is sort of a very simple, crude way of looking at how volatility plays a part. But it's just, you know, I mean, you're talking if you're taking a 12 grand risk position and you're saying, well, it's going to come back in the next 45 days towards this range, yeah, you're immediately making money. So when we're coming up with trade ideas, or when I should say this, the algorithm comes up with trade ideas, it's one of its biggest weightings is specifically that IV rank. It's not the only thing. It's one of the 5 biggest indicators that we look at. Price versus moving averages is sort of the other one, because we do want to break out either direction. But the most important thing is having that high IV rank, and it's actually good for breakout strategies as well, in the way that we trade.
David's asked, do you mainly use the trade ideas to flag iron condors rather than lit longs? Yeah, so this
at the moment it's only.
Yeah, it's only iron condors in that trade idea window, and what we're looking at is how we deliver those trades. So if we go back into trading scans, you've only got lit longs and lit shorts in here now, and the iron condors will come up on that screen, but we're just working through how we're going to display all of that. But we're probably going to bring the iron condors that have come up on the main screen into here. I'm sorry if that's confusing, but anyway, long trades come up in long shorts come up in the trading scans, or the breakout trades come up in trading scans, and the iron condors will come up on that home screen for now, David.
And just in terms of that, Sorry, one sec. One of the things. So in terms of the LITT stuff, what we want to do is we just want to put a little bit more structure around that before we actually do put it in the trade ideas scan in the trading ideas box, because the difference between the trading scans and trade ideas is the trade ideas have everything encapsulated, whereas the trading scans are identifying trading opportunities that effectively you've got to then assess and
Yep.
see what's right. So that's sort of the big important difference in that. So
we'll work through that. But but yes, Dave, that's correct. So there have been trades. They've predominantly been long trades. I don't think we haven't seen many shorts. We haven't seen many iron condors. But that's the market. So we trade it as we see it. Now the other thing I'll mention is that we did put in the newsletter today and gave people that were reading our daily newsletter the opportunity to come to the session today. So if anyone has come into the session today and isn't currently a member or have an open account with us and you'd like to get more information about any of that, just type in yes and we'll get that through to you. We will be back on next week. We'll send some updates around the team once we've got that all onboarded and how the service is going to work. We're just giving you guys a bit of an insight to it today. Other than that, I think we're done. Thank you everyone for coming along, and we will be back online next Wednesday, calling in from our Sydney office.
We will be, yes.
Yeah, we'll be in.
We might have the guys actually come join us.
We'll be able to introduce everyone then. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful next couple of days, and we speak soon. Cheers. Bye bye.